What's good, everyone? It's your boy Punz, and we're back with another video. Today I'm going to show you how to make pain loops for NBA Youngboy. Without further ado, let's hop in the FL Studio and get right to it. Yeah, that was a beautiful loop, man. Now let's get into FL Studio and break down what sounds I used, what the MIDI looks like, and what effects I put on when I mixed this as well. So the first sound I used is a piano. I used the Contact Bank Alicia's keys, and I used the Audience Big Concert Hall preset. This is what we have for the chord progression. We have a 1-7-6 chord progression, as you can see over here. And what this is basically it's the root note, and then it's the 7th and the 6th note of the scale that you're in. And I'm in F sharp minor, so that's what a 1-7-6 looks like in F sharp minor. Now what I did is I added some filler notes over here just to transition the chords and make it sound unique. And I also added some extra different ones here to add variation in terms of effects. What I used was a Valhalla vintage verb. These are my settings. I used a Fruity Delay 3, kept all the settings the same, and I turned the mix level to around 8%, and I EQ'd out some low end. The next thing I did was I added a piano top line, and I used the exact same Contact Bank Alicia's keys, and I used the Audience Big Concert Hall preset again. This is what the MIDI looks like. Sometimes I play it out on the keys, and sometimes I draw it in as well. Just depends how I'm feeling, but I usually get my ideas by playing on the keys. I find that it really helps a lot. So that's how you can come up with ideas for these melodies. Another thing you should do is you should always take your time when you're making these melodies, because it goes a long way in terms of finding what works with the chords, and you'll find yourself more satisfied with the end product if you take your time. Now for effects, we have the same effects, except I used a Fruity Delay 2 with the time stretch to 2 and the feedback to ping pong. Used the Valhalla vintage verb again, and these are my settings. And I EQ'd out some low end. The next thing I did is I added a pad. I used the Heaven Shores preset in Omnisphere. I just copied the chord progression from the piano. And for effects, I EQ'd out some high end and some low end to get a lot of the mid range. And I added a Valhalla vintage verb. These are my settings. The next thing I did is I added a bass guitar. I used the Scarby Rickenbacker bass, and I used the call preset. I layered the root notes, and I basically added some filler notes just to add variation and give it more bounce. The last thing I did was I added these guitar phrases from the Nitro Audio's kit. It's called Pain Harmonies. And I added these two phrases that were in F minor and I pitched them up to F sharp. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more because we'll be back with more beat breakdowns. We'll be also doing live beat cookups and sample making as well, so stay tuned for that. Hope everyone has a great day. Peace.